What's up? What's on tap? George on Tap show. Today we're talking about the biggest stories in the sports world, and there are a lot of them. And it's almost time for the weekend, which of course means college football, NFL, and more. But today I want to talk to you guys about the Rebet app before we begin. If you like to bet on sports, the Rebet app is a great way to bet on sports. It is legal in 46 out of 50 states, and it's really easy to use. You can use real money to bet on your favorite games, and it's completely legal. All you have to do is go to Rebet, or I'm showing you here on the screen what exactly you can do and how you can use this to bet on sports. It's the social sports book. You can share, you can bet even directly with friends. So if you and put money in there, and whoever wins gets the actual money. It's so much fun. The Rebet app is amazing, has great lines. You can move lines, player props, a little bit of everything, and you can only get it using promo code on tap, and you'll get a bonus deposit as well. All right, let's get on to our first topic. What's on tap? All right, the Giants versus Cowboys. That was a Thursday night football game that featured a lot of different variables and a lot of different things that can showcase what's wrong with Dallas despite winning, what's good with the Giants despite losing. And let's talk about it. We're going to start off with America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, and give you a couple things, two really big things that I saw about this game. One, the Dallas Cowboys, well, they simply just feast on bad teams. The Cowboys are going to be a team this year that is going to win some home games against bad teams, and they're going to lose road games against good teams. The Giants are not a good team. You can pencil in another win for the Cowboys versus the Giants when they play again at home in Dallas. But this is the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. Right now, they're just simply not very good, and you can't rely on a team that's not good. Micah Parsons also exited the game at the end of a game with an injury. Don't know right now how serious that is, but the point here is that Dallas is going to find themselves in a really bad situation at the end of the year, or even if they keep feasting on teams and they make the playoffs. It gives me my second point. They're not going to go very far in the playoffs. This is probably going to be Mike McCarthy's last season because I don't necessarily see a team here in the Dallas Cowboys that can actually go far in the playoffs, actually win playoff games. And the reason for that is because they simply are a good bad team. They beat the good, they'll beat the bad teams. They'll win some good home games against good teams, but they're going to lose their road games against good teams. Simply just not good enough. They have some good pieces, right? Dak is a pretty good quarterback. CeeDee Lamb is fantastic. Micah Parsons, if he's healthy, is great. Trayvon Diggs makes some big plays, but he also has some liability issues here and there. So overall, you just got to make sure that you do not get fooled by the Cowboys win. Now they're 2-2, and their two wins are against the New York Giants and the Cleveland Browns. Now to the Giants. They got everything ready except their quarterback. Here's the thing. Brian Daboll coached a hell of a game yesterday. He's a good head coach. They had more time of possession. They had the worst quarterback. They don't have a run game. And they were able to do everything except win that football game. That's all on Brian Daboll. The Giants, I think, should be smart here. And even if they have a disastrous year, keep Brian Daboll. He turned Daniel Jones into a competent quarterback at one point in his career. And even yesterday, Daniel Jones looked competent. He looked like he was not an absolute over his head quarterback. And I think he's a bridge quarterback. He's a quarterback that you are okay with having right now, but you're not going to be okay having when you want to be a playoff team that is going to be going far in the NFL. He has a problem throwing the ball deep, Daniel Jones. On passes of 20 plus air yards this season, he's 2 for 13 for 67 yards, no touchdowns and a pick, and a 16.5 passer rating. Just not good enough. And I think what really gets us, and they have a good left tackle, they have protection, they have everything except the quarterback. But what the problem is here with Daniel Jones is we look at him and we're like, oh, he sucks. It's because of his contract. He doesn't suck. He's a bridge quarterback. If he was making $6 million a year, You'd be like, oh, Daniel Jones is good enough for $6 million a year, but his contract is so big that it just turns off so many people. These are two franchises, the New York Football Giants and the Dallas Cowboys, that just should be in better positions right now. Plain and simple. And Thursday Night Football showcased that completely. All right, what's on tap? I want to talk about the three biggest games in the NFL this week upcoming. I try to do that every week, showcase what I think are the three best games, and give you my pick during those three games. So let's start off with game number one, which is the Vikings at the Packers. All signs seem like Jordan Love is going to play this game, which is a great sign for the Green Bay Packers. The spread is set at Packers minus 2.5 or 3, depending on the book you're getting it at. And this is going to be a game. This whole entire NFC North division is solid. You got the Packers and Vikings. Vikings obviously undefeated. Packers could be undefeated, but they're 2-1. And before this season, the Packers had Super Bowl aspirations, and I still believe they're a team that can win the Super Bowl. I think that when Jordan Love comes back healthy, they're even going to get better. Malik Willis even looked like a good quarterback under Matt LaFleur, who should be already a candidate to win Coach of the Year with the way he's coached this team up. I overall think the Vikings are still a good team. They're going to be a playoff team. We may get 3 playoff teams from this division and then 2 from the NFC West. Maybe it's going to be hard. There's going to be 3. You get 3 wild card teams. So I think the NFC North will either get 2 or 1, and the NFC West will either get 2 or 1. So this is a huge game for the standings. It's for first place in the division. I know the Vikings are 3-0, but if the Packers win this game, they have the tiebreaker and they'll be 3-1 with a chance. And I take the Vikings to win this game and cover the spread. The next game. And now we have 2 primetime games. A lot of these fall in primetime just because that's, the NFL schedule makers are good. Bills and Ravens. The Bills and Ravens game is going to be one of those games where you get really excited to watch because everything is on the line for Baltimore Ravens here and for the second week in a row. I told you before the Ravens were going to beat the Cowboys. They cannot go 0-3. They won. I'm telling you now, they're going to beat the Bills. They can't go to 1-3. And it doesn't mean they're a better football team than the Bills. But this is a primetime game in Baltimore, Sunday Night Football, in a must-win situation for the Baltimore Ravens. And I just told you, two teams in a row now undefeated are going to fall and not be undefeated anymore. So we're going to have the Chiefs, Seahawks. I think Chiefs, Seahawks left undefeated other than those, and the Steelers. And I also picked the Steelers to lose this week. So we're only going to have 2 undefeated teams left because I have my third game is the Seahawks at Lions Monday Night Football. If you want to see our preview, that'll be on Seattle on Tap. You can find that in my YouTube page. So here's the thing. This is going to be an awesome, awesome game. We get to see this new Mike McDonald defense of the Seattle Seahawks take on the Lions in Detroit. The Seahawks have had the Lions numbers in back-to-back years, and I can see it going to back-to-back years. I see the Seahawks going into Detroit, beating the Lions, going to 3-0 and 4-0, sorry. And I believe at the end of this week, there's only going to be 2 4-0 teams left in the NFL, and that's my Seattle Seahawks and the Kansas City Chiefs, because I have the Steelers losing, I have the Vikings losing, and I have the Bills losing. Be only 2 undefeated teams left. One of them is a back-to-back Super Bowl champion, and the other one missed the playoffs last year, my Seahawks. But those are the 3 biggest games on the NFL schedule this upcoming week. So make sure you tune into all of them. Once again, I'm picking the Seahawks here, the Packers, and the Bills to lose to the Ravens in the 3 biggest games on the NFL schedule for Week 4 NFL action. What's on tap? Okay, last but not least, I want to just pivot a minute here from football action and talk a little bit about the NBA, because Mark Cuban came out, and he's no longer the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, by the way, and said that we are going to soon see a $1 billion NBA player, like a $1 billion contract. So like a 5-year, 1 billion, 10-year, 1 billion, whatever. I don't know how exactly that would work, but he said we're going to see a $1 billion NBA contract. And that sounds all good and dandy. I know sports teams are selling for $5-6 billion now. And I know that players should be paid. They are the main product, to his point. And it's okay if a player is richer than the owner. And I totally agree. They're the main product. But this is not going to happen. I think, and I love sports, I'm talking in sports, but I think sports team values have peaked. I think the bargaining agreements and the TV right deals have peaked. We're at a point where advertising is still going to be a relatively good business model, but not good enough to justify the prices that advertisers are going to have to pay to see a $1 billion contract. Because at the end of the day, we now are on streaming services, cord cutting, and quickly going through games and skipping commercials. There's going to be a point where advertisers are not willing to pay, what from where they are now, 3-4x of the advertising cost to make sure that they can actually go and supply enough money to make a $1 billion contract. I could actually see in a few years these contracts we're seeing taking a dip down. We saw it in baseball not too long ago. When Alex Rodriguez got his $252 million contract, it took many, many years to have that surpassed because teams were not making as much money as they used to. So they took a step back on those contracts. If it went back up. But I actually see a point here where we're almost at the cusp of this is as big as NBA contracts will get. Not because these players don't deserve it, not because it's not a good business model, but there is a certain ceiling that something can reach. We're not going to see one day, oh, the Chicago Bears sell for $55 billion, or the Los Angeles Lakers just sold for a record 700 or $70 billion. We've peaked. I think the $10 billion mark is going to be the peak of sports teams. Maybe you'll see a little increase on that between 10 to 12 and then 8 to 10 dip. But I think we're going to kind of been into a place where we've plateaued in the growth of sports. And that's because I don't think advertisers are able to sustain this level they'll have to pay to make it to a point where we see a $1 billion NBA contract. I could be totally wrong here, but I don't foresee it. I do never foresee us getting a $1 billion NBA contract. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. This has been the George on Tap, What's on Tap, Sports on Tap show. If you want to see my betting picks for the week, we use Rebet app, which is a great app for social betting. Use promo code on tap, and you can use real money in 46 out of 50 states. But you can watch all that on our Sports on Tap gambling show. If you go to the YouTube channel, you'll go down to the Sports on Tap. We have a full gambling show Monday through Friday. So make sure you watch, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.